Go. Hi, my name is David O'Brien,
And I'm Courtney O'Brien.
and we are here today because we want to just cover some basic questions that we get asked a lot, and we wanted to kind of help you understand. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors in dog fencing, especially the competitiveness of this industry.
Yep.
We try to remove all that. That's why we have very transparent quotes, and we tell you pricing and all that stuff up front. And we do not insist on coming to your house to do the timeshare close, which if you've already been through that with the other company, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. If you don't give us a deposit check today and sign on the dotted line, you're going to wait for 3 months, stuff like that. We hear that from a lot of people. So I'm going to just ask some questions, and Courtney's going to help me out, and kind of we're going to role play this and show you kind of, how we do this. So first off, Courtney, could you see potentially yourself ever getting into the car with the dog and forgetting to take the collar off and backing out of the driveway?
Unfortunately, I could. There's just a lot of distractions, and even if I have kids with me, or you just kind of be like, all right, we got everything ready to go, and you're backing up.
Yep, sure. Now you're asking, why am I asking that question? Well, because there is a big difference between pet stop systems and invisible fence brand systems. The invisible fence brand system with the Boundaries Plus, when the dog crosses over the line, it initiates the 10-second continuous correction at the highest level, and you would be inflicting that on your dog if you backed out of the driveway in that situation. It's not your dog's fault, it's
Right.
your fault. And so, but most people do not understand this because the invisible fence salespeople do not tell them about how this feature actually works.
Sure.
They use statements like, and you've heard the
Gentle reminder, free pass back in the yard, just different things like that, but that's not accurate from what you're telling me.
a very, very creative way to describe such a feature. They also talk about the infamous 6-foot buffer into the yard, which I think is hilarious. All of these fences, typically, if you look at them from a simple perspective, they all work the same. The dog can get within a foot of the wire with any brand out there if it's adjusted properly. So for smaller yards, we're not going to be taking away half your yard. It's ridiculous. And the whole thing about the 10-second extended correction, that is by definition what Boundaries Plus is. And they will never explain it to you the way it actually works, because if they did, you would never buy it from them.
True.
And any veterinarian that understands this feature would never recommend it to anybody. But they don't tell these people, they don't tell the veterinarians what it is. And so therefore, when the sales pitch is done, it's, we'll call your vet, they recommend us. It's unfortunately, they have taken advantage of the relationship with veterinarians, and it's really kind of deceptive.
Yeah.
Most veterinarians, if they really understood how this feature worked on the Boundaries Plus system, would never recommend it, or never recommend it be used. With pet stop systems, we are safer by design. Your dog will never, ever, 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 ever get a 10-second correction with our system. We do have the ability to do an extended correction if it's absolutely necessary, but it's not something that we have set up as a permanent feature. 1 in 10, maybe 1 in 20 dogs need that. The vast majority of dogs are going to be compliant, they're going to obey the system, and they're going to stop at the line or before it, and they're not going to cross it. So again, that brings up the whole idea of when your dog is in the car, they're not choosing to cross that line.
Right.
That's something that is happening to them. So any possibility of that, and if you understand what the dog is going to experience with that high level of a correction for that long, it's just very, very sad. So a couple of the other questions I want to to kind of point out is, obviously our competitor says they have 85% of the market, and that's probably true, but anything you might want to throw in?
I guess, yeah, that might sound like an impressive number, but I guess my question would be, like, are they happy? Are those 85% happy? Like how does the relationship work with the company? Those kind of things.
Exactly. And from the phone calls that you and I are taking, we are hearing people aren't quite so happy because they're being told that they have a 6 to 10 week wait time for a service call for a broken wire.
Yeah.
And we are ending up going out and fixing a lot of these customers' fences because they can't get the service from Invisible Fence brand.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we know they have a big percentage of the market, and that's not a surprise because they've been doing this since 1970. They also talk about their new technology, which I find a little bit interesting because the new technology came out in 2002.
Yeah.
That's 20 years old. That's when the Boundaries Plus patent was, I think, issued somewhere in that time frame. And they're the only company that has it. And quite frankly, we would never want it anyhow. So, yeah, anyhow. But the other questions that we want to point out would be, can you make any adjustments to the system, to the caller settings, the boundary width settings, things like that? Are you able to do that? And with PetStop, absolutely. You have total control over setting that correction level. We start at gentle steps level 1, which is a tickle, and bring it up very, very gradually until your dog is adjusted to the system. With Invisible Fence brand, you have no control over those settings, and that's by design because they want to sell you hundreds of dollars worth of training. And training is good, but when you see our day one of training and how simple this works, it's like teaching you how to wash dishes in your sink.
Yeah.
And most people are, well, do we really need you to come back for any more? Or how about we'll just call you if we have a problem and then we'll come back.
Yep.
So that's why we offer the unconditional follow-up the unlimited follow-up training guarantee for the dogs that are the 10 or 15% that are super skittish.
Yep.
And so that's gonna be in place for anything that doesn't work maybe quite the way we would all hope it would, but needless to say, we'll get you through those difficulties and get your dog contained, and that's why we have those provisions. Any other things like batteries that you get asked questions about?
I do, yeah. A lot of the times people want to know how long they last, how much they are, and are they proprietary? Because some companies do have proprietary ones, and they can be very expensive on top of your package that you've already purchased, so you're just thinking of that ongoing cost. So if you could walk me through just kind of like our batteries and rechargeable, how that all kind of fits together.
So our batteries are very inexpensive, and we do the 5-year free battery plan or offer for people who do a review for us after they've had the system in for a month.
Sure.
And we do that because people have the right to do a review and tell us or tell the world what they think of the process. We give those batteries to people whether they do a good, bad, or indifferent review. I don't want people to write a phony review just to get batteries.
Right.
I want them to tell us how we did. So our batteries are very inexpensive, and you will never spend more than $200 over the life of your dog on one dog for batteries if you go with our battery powered system. If you go with our rechargeable system, you'll never buy batteries because it's rechargeable. It's got a lifetime guarantee. With Invisible Fence brand, whole different story. $70 to $100 per year per dog for those batteries, and they are proprietary. And if you don't use their batteries, you void the warranty.
Wow.
So be aware of that as you're looking at your purchase. Because not only do you have the purchase price of the system, but now you have to buy batteries to go along with it. They never give you more than maybe 1 year of complimentary battery service that I've seen. So just be aware of that. And then the other thing that we have found as we talk to many people on the phone, it doesn't appear that there's a whole lot of focus on how the fence works.
True.
Other than how they can get the dog right up to the line, and they don't have the 6-foot buffer into the yard, which again, it's hilarious that they talk about that.
Misleading.
And then the new technology, which is 20 years old. Is that new? there's not a whole lot of focus on how does this Boundaries Plus actually work. We end up telling people how it works because we understand it, and we want you to know before you buy that system how it works. So my question and my suggestion for anybody watching this video right now is, please do your homework. If you know somebody that has a Boundaries Plus system, go to their house and see if you can test it on yourself.
Yeah.
Or see if, prove me wrong that you're not going to have that 10-second extended beyond the boundary, because that, if you really want your dog to feel that or potentially feel that, I don't know. I guess these systems are not meant to be used for that kind of of a correction. And I don't think any veterinarian would ever endorse that if they knew that that's how it worked. So I can't stress that point enough. And it's being used as it's being sold as an advantage, unfortunately.
Right.
Which I don't even know how you can come up with that kind of to me, it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So if you want a good competitive quote or bid that would go side by side with us, talk with Dog Watch of Eden Prairie. They are a good company, have a completely separate company, have a good dealer in the area. And that's the other thing to point out is we are dealers for PetStop, and there are dealers for Dog Watch. There are no Invisible Fence dealers left because they were bought out in November of 2020. So there are no dealers. You are now dealing with the Comcast and True Green of dog fencing when you deal with Invisible Fence, because they are a corporate entity, and that's why you're being told 8 to 10 weeks on service calls. And the experience level of the people involved now in the field we don't even know who they are, because they're not the dealers that were here.
Sure.
They are other people who may or may not have hardly any experience at all. So, but you're gonna have to do your homework on that one. I can't tell you for a fact who they are, what their experience is. I can tell you that we've been doing this since '92. My brother-in-law, Bruce Peterson, who owns our company, is still actively involved in our business. All of us family members are involved.
Yep.
Courtney's my daughter-in-law. She's my sales assistant. My son is our CFO. My wife is our bookkeeper. I mean, we've got everybody involved in our business. And so when you call, text, or email us, you're going to get one of us to help you with whatever problem comes up. With the other guys, you're calling 1-800 somewhere else in the United States, and who knows what your level of service is going to be at that point. So anyhow, we're going to end this with that. We're going to end on that note, and we just want you to understand, if you have any questions, we love your questions.
Yes.
Please call us, text us, email us. We want to talk to you if you have more in-depth questions. If this video totally turned you off, then you're probably not our customer. We want you to know the truth. We don't want to be painting a glorious picture of something that we do that's not good. We know that the other guys are not necessarily in that same boat with us. So anyhow, thank you again, and we look forward to hearing from you hopefully very soon. Have a great day.
Thank you.